This episode was funded by our Patreon backers. Without their generous support, this episode could not have been made. Please consider becoming one of our patrons today.
It's been almost 2 years since we've been able to travel to film the show, or for any reason really, so it seems totally appropriate as we reignite the show, for want of a better word, to be standing in one of the most dramatic settings that I've ever been in my life, on the edge of an active and erupting volcano.
I thought long and hard about the first place I wanted to visit when the world started turning again. Despite months of searching, nothing felt right. Opportunities came and went, destinations were tinkered with and summarily dismissed. I knew what I wanted. I wanted epic. I wanted wild. I wanted inspiring. I wanted stories and food and people. I wanted, and frankly needed, to be humbled. And in the cold, forbidding waters of the North Atlantic, I finally found it. Since I've been behind the wheel, exploring roads in a new place. And Iceland is a potent and welcome reminder of why I do this. From the moment you leave the airport, you know you are experiencing something extraordinary.
Well, I guess we're in Iceland. I haven't left my house in 2 years, so I forgot what it feels like to be this cold. It looks like an actual Bob Ross painting, like a real life Bob Ross painting. How is that possible?
Now, I want to create mist at the base of this foothill. There we go. And I hope you've enjoyed this painting.
I don't think I've ever come to a place straight from the airport in any country I've ever been to that has grabbed me by the throat as aggressively as Iceland has. I mean, what a welcome. I mean, you hear people talk about this place, but it's impossible to convey without actually experiencing it quite how breathtaking this place is. And we've only been here about 45 minutes.
Time moves differently in Iceland, a rock in the ocean so far north that the sun shines for 3 straight months in the summer. But it's winter now, and as the sun sets, our appetites grow, and the allure of Icelandic cuisine is just too much to resist. It is no coincidence that all our adventures seem to begin and end with food, and frankly, why fight the habit of a lifetime? And at Brute, the latest gastronomic venture by chef and TV personality Ólafur Örn Ólafsson, or Oli for short, I find a kindred spirit. Our first taste of Icelandic hospitality.
Wow.
Icelandic sea snails.
Wow, indeed.
Otherwise known as whelks, a shell full of garlicky goodness.
So good. I feel like I need to send these to Joseph Tame.
It's quite nice, actually.
And when the snail is gone, the shell remains.
Who doesn't want to drink garlic butter?
I'll have a think about it.
Iceland's culinary scene has enjoyed something of a renaissance in recent years, with local chefs as desirable an export as the fresh Icelandic fish they so often cook with.
We have a team of young professionals coming up in this country who are on a really high international level. I think we are doing pretty decent things here.
And to that end, Oli's TV show, Chefs Abroad, explores the lives of the Icelandic culinary diaspora.
Oh my goodness, look at that. Wow. Beautiful.
Icelandic people don't really know skate. It's caught a lot around here, and mostly people eat it fermented. This is traditionally eaten the day before Christmas in Iceland.
Stunning. Thank you.
Once a year is just not enough for this beauty.
Absolutely superb.
A dish reinvented. But as the Icelandic people developed their relationship with the harsh and barren land they found themselves on, traditions took hold and methods bore fruit.
Living on a rock that is very difficult to live on, back in the day, when we were not a rich nation, people had to survive the winter. And they had these sheep, and they roamed around free in the summer, and then in the fall, you needed to prepare for the winter because you couldn't get any food. So you needed to pickle all the lamb. You're not going to have any lamb in this restaurant, though.
Lamb or not, Oli is a master craftsman, using the very best of Icelandic ingredient and talent. A true ambassador for his art and his nation. "150 miles to the west of Reykjavik, there is, on the face of it, not much. But slow down, let your eyes drift off the road and up into the volcanic hills, and there is treasure to be found. Farms and guest houses, both with names I shan't even dare to attempt to pronounce.
Sólheima hjáleiga. The farm has been in my family for over 160 years, so I'm the 6th generation farming here, raising the 7th. We've got almost 1.5 sheep per capita in Iceland, and we eat a lot of lamb. And of course we use the wool, and it's ingrained a bit in the Icelandic soul.
Sheep in Iceland enjoy near reverential status, a respected provider of not just wool, but milk, cheese, and meat. So while there is a certain matter-of-factness about their fate, there is very little sense of commodity about the animals these farmers have been tending for generations.
We try to do it as respectfully as possible.
What does that mean?
Treating the ones who live as well as possible. We have great houses for sheep in Iceland because we share them. We use the wool, so that's why we have to keep them inside during the winter. We take good care of them during the birthing season, and then in the summertime they roam free up in the mountains. So the sheep gives birth and goes outside on our fields for 2 weeks with the lamb, and then we put them up in the mountains.
It is, admittedly, not the type of terrain that one imagines when picturing good old farm life.
We live close to a glacier here, and we've got a volcano, well, 2 volcanoes just next door, under the glaciers. So what happens when there is a volcanic eruption is that there comes a massive flood down, and you can see the sand deserts around here and around Vik. They are created by these floods. So of course that ground is a bit barren. It's just a desert.
Hold on. Volcanic sand desert? I feel like I need to see this for myself. And there is really only one way to do that. Okay, I am sure there are more pedestrian ways of exploring this Martian terrain, but come on, ATV! And besides, there was something else out there waiting for us. In 1973, a U.S. Navy C-117 crashed on the beach after experiencing severe icing. All 7 crew members survived and were almost immediately retrieved by helicopter. But the exact details of the crash remain a source of debate to this day.
I think there's a lot more to this story than we've all been told. Who crashes a plane on the beach and has a helicopter pick them up immediately? But I think for now we leave sleeping dogs lying because this is a pretty spectacular monument.
Okay, volcanic sand desert satisfactorily explored. Back to Einar on the farm.
But then we've got, hills and grasslands still that are a bit higher up, which are quite fertile.
It's clear that these farmers know their land like the backs of their hands. But to truly experience the lowlands, the volcanic beaches, you must experience their source. Gliding through the sky over ancient scar tissue is nothing short of otherworldly, and one of the only ways to truly get a sense of Iceland's dramatic geography. Our pilot, John, was a clear enthusiast for not just the scenery, but what lies beneath it.
This is our oil.
Yeah? How much of the country is powered by geothermal?
It's either geothermal or hydroelectric.
As you drive around or fly around, as we did, this extraordinary country, the whole landscape seems to be percolating, and that's just another great example of how this country has adopted and adapted to its surroundings.
Geothermal power produces a staggering 26% of Iceland's electricity, with the remainder coming from hydropower. Incredibly, geothermal energy also provides heating and hot water to over 85% of the buildings in Iceland. Even our fully electric rental car was drawing power exclusively from these renewable sources.
There are geothermal stations, power stations, on both sides of the mountain with bores that go down 3,000 meters at a heat of like 600 degrees Celsius, which is powering much of the country. And the water coming out of the ground there is boiling, bubbling, touch it and you're done for. But this is just perfect, beautiful, warm spring water that's coming right out of the ground on top of a volcano.
Flying from the top of a geothermal ridge and back to Reykjavik, you leave with a unique perspective of this island's distinctive landscape, but also a sense of the epic power that rumbles within it. But there is no starker and more humbling monument to this power than Iceland's volcanoes. In the misty foothills of Fagradalsfjall, members of Iceland's search and rescue team remind that volcanoes are a way of life for Icelanders.
Well, we have roughly about a volcanic eruption every 5 years, roughly. So we just kind of have to live with it. Most of these volcanoes are due, so there are a lot of volcanoes that we're just really waiting for to go off. So if one of those, which is bigger than Eyjafjallajökull, the volcano that shut down the air traffic, then just have to live with it.
A volcano in south-central Iceland is continuing to erupt.
Eyjafjallajökull, or E16 for those who won't give the full word a try, infamously shut down air traffic across Europe for 6 days in 2010 during a monumental sustained eruption.
Icelanders are used to these sorts of eruptions, as their island lies on a hotspot atop the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, the highly volatile boundary between the Eurasian and North American tectonic plates.
And do people in Iceland, does everybody know what to do? Like, there's an alert that goes out and everybody's, we have to go and do the...
For example, the people that live close or roughly close to the more volcanic areas in the south, all the farmsteads, they know what to do when something happens.
And I'm glad that you're able to turn off the volcano
on a whim,
whenever you need to. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's just sensible. It's a good idea.
And in leaving the Rangers, I found myself back where I started, atop a volcano, a literal force of nature truly emblematic of this island, born from eruptions 20 million years ago. I have flown over Iceland dozens, maybe even hundreds of times during the long, lazy transatlantic arc. Iceland was always a reliable transoceanic waypoint on the way to the New World. But to see Iceland up close, to walk its streets and trails, drive its coastal highways, to truly experience it, nothing can compare. a country whose proud custodians are warm, welcoming, and engaging. Iceland might be the first country I've ever been to where before I even left its shores, I was impatient to return.